Welcome to The Extra on KRDO News Radio, the show that connects you with the topics and issues and people that are important to you, and very important people in studio today. I mean, it's just a week full of very important people. I need to leave the room. CEO Jerry Forte of Colorado Springs Utilities is here, and for the first time on The Extra, City Council member and Utilities Board Chairman Tom Strand here today. Tom, great to meet you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. I'm thrilled to be here. We're coming down the home stretch on a number of issues. I was just looking ahead at our holidays are just around the corner, and that's going to be an issue. We'll be with families, and of course, it's a special time for utilities because you see the lights all around the city.
Absolutely.
And so Jerry and I are excited to be here and talk about the top issues that affect the utilities.
And Jerry, it's always good to see you.
Renee.
Well, and thank you for coming in, and we have a lot of notes we need to cover. And let's just jump in, if you guys don't mind, and because we got a lot to cover. And, of course, today is Election Day, and, of course, 2A, ballot measure 2, it's 2A, correct, yes.
2A.
I'm like, wait, 2A is on the ballot, and that covers stormwater. And it's asking voters, private residential voters would pay approximately $5 every month, and then commercial non-residential property owners would pay $30 per month. It's on the ballot, and everybody's asking for Springs Springs residents to decide on this.
Well, Renee, let me jump into this, and then Jerry can follow on. I was one of the majority of the city council members supporting putting 2A on the ballot. I've been back now for about 12 years. Actually came to Colorado Springs in 1975. I don't know where you were in 1975.
I was here. I was like
school.
4 or something.
Yeah, I figured that. Anyway, 2A, today is the 7th of November. I believe strongly in this, having a funded stream of monies that we can deal with our stormwater issues.
Now, what do some of those issues include so everybody understands?
Well, we've got 71 projects that we have agreed to in the agreement for the Southern Delivery System in order to get that turned on last year, that we agreed with Pueblo, the county of Pueblo, that we were going to fix these so that they don't get the runoff of our stormwater issues. And they are different kinds of dealing with the sewer systems, dealing with the drainage systems, dealing with areas where we can retain water and detain water. Our public works folks, and we've got a separate branch that just works stormwater issues. We hired the first leader for that last year, and I think they're up to 7 people now that are working stormwater issues. And we just desperately need the funding in order to take care of making sure when we have large amounts of rainfall in short periods of time that we don't have flooding. I don't know, Renee, if you remember last year, we had I-25 was totally blocked off because of the storm that we got in 2016. I live in Old Colorado City. When we get much rainfall, it is not designed to handle
that kind of.
It really isn't. And so today is the last day for folks to vote. I think everybody knows that they got mail-in ballots about 6 weeks ago. And I want to encourage everyone to get out. I want to encourage them to vote for 2A. So that we can have the funding that will be necessary to take care of our safety issues, and we don't see people stranded or maybe injured because of too much water coming down and not enough drainage and retention capability for that. If anyone is interested in the exact projects, they can go to the website for Colorado Springs City Public Works Stormwater, and they can look at all of these projects and how they're going to be funded. Any money that's going to come from 2A, if 2A passes, is going to go for stormwater mitigation and stormwater control.
And Tom, this does kind of hopefully, with the pending litigation from the EPA and from Pueblo for the Southern Delivery System, this is kind of saying to them, look, we are doing this to try and solve these problems.
Yeah, as you know, Mayor Suthers, great career as an attorney, a district attorney, and an attorney general for the state. I was a JAG in the Air Force for 30 years, so I'm a lawyer. When the EPA, when their suit, which is carried by the Department of Justice, comes forward, and we're in discussions and negotiations for that, the judge often looks at what has the respondent, we're the respondent, the city of this lawsuit, what have they done to try and mitigate and control the situation? And it is my personal opinion that if we pass 2A, we are going to send a signal that as the 40th largest city in the United States, we're stepping up to responsibilities for stormwater and the safety and security of our public.
So let's go with it. Does not pass today. Let's just look at that. I mean, it remains just as critical, doesn't it? To get these projects done.
What it means, we still have obligations of a minimum of $16 to $17 million a year that we have in the intergovernmental agreement that we've signed with Pueblo. We have got to come up with that money. We are currently working on the budget for 2018. In the general budget, which is the general fund, that's the largest part. We're looking at about $288 million. Most of that money goes for public safety, for fire, and for police. If, in fact, we have to take $16 to $17 million in 2018 for stormwater projects, then that just means that we can't deal with the other issues that this community desperately needs, which is fire and police protection equipment for our firefighters and our policemen, things that we need to make sure that, like today, we've got kind of a cold day in the 30s, that we need to make sure our streets are safe from snow and ice. So
it takes away from those
absolutely
funds.
It's going to dilute that effort. You only have so much funds, and as a taxpayer too, I'm sensitive to what I pay in both sales and use tax as well as property tax. But we need to have this so our community can move forward and can be safe for our children and grandchildren.
And when we come back on the extra, we have so many. I mean, we have like 3 pages of topics to cover, and we're going to talk more with Utilities Board Chairman Tom Strand, CEO Jerry Forte of Colorado Springs Utilities, next on the Extra on KRDO News Radio. Welcome back to the Extra on KRDO News Radio. We are chatting with City Council member and Utilities Board Chairman Tom Strand and CEO of Colorado Springs Utilities, Jerry Forte, is here. And Tom, thank you so much for catching my boo-boo in talking about the stormwater fee amount.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that one of the things we tried to do with this ballot issue with stormwater is simplify it from the one that we had with the enterprise 5 or 6 years ago. And so for residential property, and there's some debate about this. Regardless of the size of your property, it would be $5 a month per month, $30 a year, for residential property. For anything that deals with property that is, in fact, non-residential, so that could be commercial, industrial, etc., it would be $30 per month per acre.
Okay.
And so if you've got a big car lot and you might have 10 acres, it would be $30 times 10, $300 a month. This is much less than it was during the previous stormwater enterprise charge, which could be into maybe 10 times as much back then.
Wow.
But I do want people to know that for commercial, industrial, non-residential property, it's $30 per month per acre.
And Jerry, Colorado Springs Utilities, if 2A does pass today, may be involved with at least the residential billing. Is that correct?
That's correct, Lori. We have been working closely with the municipal government to look at how that could possibly work with our billing system. In the November board meeting, which is on Tuesday, November 21st, should this pass today, we will be proposing to our board a methodology to be able to, in fact, bill the residential. And with the board's approval, we're going to move forward to develop all that, and hopefully within 6 months after that we're given direction to move forward, we'll be able to begin the billing.
So, and that, again, is just for residential.
Correct.
Okay. And then for the businesses or non-residential.
The business, anything that's non-residential, manufacturing, industrial, even some of our nonprofit, the large faith-based organizations, they would be billed through the city.
Oh, okay. So it'd be completely separate billing.
Correct.
And we, of course, will see what happens with election results today. Actually, they'll start releasing some of the numbers at 7:30 tonight, and you have until 7 o'clock today to go vote, by the way, and cast your vote or drop off your ballot. And all the details on that are on our website, KRDO.com. Okay, we have a couple minutes before the news break, and we have so much stuff to cover, you guys. I'm sitting here going, wow, But we do want to talk about Colorado Springs utilities. We did have a little outage earlier. I think it was later last week or earlier this week. And Jerry, bam, it was taken care of like that.
Yeah, it doesn't always happen like that. But
sometimes it's worse, yeah.
and in fact, one of our board members, his power was out, and he wrote me an email immediately when the power went out. And he said, Jerry, you're on the clock.
TikTok.
And within 22 minutes, it was restored to his area. The rest of it took about an hour. And it was just coincidental that we were able to reswitch that particular portion of the outage and get it on quickly.
Yeah, which is great. And I think Colorado Springs Utilities works to strive to be one of the best in restoration.
You know, we are obviously top decile in the nation in terms of our system, what we call SAIDI. It's a measurement of outage, system average interruption duration index. Mm-hmm. But then KRDO, which is our customer response, we're number one in the whole nation with respect to reliability. So we're so proud of that.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah, I wanted to say that, and I don't know if our customers know, that municipally owned for-service utility.
Right.
So we're electricity, we're natural gas, we're water, we're wastewater. We're at 99.99% of the time, when you flip on the switch for your electric, it comes on.
Right.
We are the most reliable electric company in the country.
Isn't that phenomenal?
And it is phenomenal. And our we have separate committees on the utilities board, and one of them is our finance committee. And just last week, the chair of our finance committee, Don Knight, and me, and Andy Colosimo from the staff, were in Washington, D.C. talking with the Air Force and the Army about their concerns concerning cyber attacks on our utilities and how the Colorado Springs utilities can ensure that our 5 military installations, 4 of which are customers, the United States Air Force Academy, the Cheyenne Mountain, the Fort Carson and Peterson, are going to be secure, that they have the electrical power that they need to operate, 24 hours a day.
Well, and speaking of being municipally owned, we do have neighbors that are not, and they're looking at, switching. Are they looking at Colorado Springs Utilities for guidance in, like, how do we handle this, and if we want to switch?
Renee, great question, and they are looking to Colorado Springs Utilities for guidance. We have to be very cautious in terms of stepping up, because working with the Public Utilities Commission, we can't go in and cherry pick other jurisdictions and other utility company customers, but we can talk to them about ways they can do to secure more reasonable rates, what they can do to ensure that their reliability and their customer support is as best as it can be.
I was going to say, back in 1924, our citizens very, very wisely and really ahead of their time came together and decided and voted that we should own our own utilities, especially gas and electric. We had water and wastewater had evolved to that point under municipal ownership, but gas and electric were more investor-owned and a for-profit sort of a model. They wisely suggested that we do that, and over the last almost 90 plus years, we've enjoyed municipal ownership of our utilities, and it's been absolutely a great thing for the citizens of Colorado Springs.
Absolutely. And we're going to have to take a quick news break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about what it's looked like for the decommissioning of the Martin Drake Power Plant. We got some rate changes that are proposed and a lot more. We're talking with City Council member and Utilities Board Chairman Tom Strand and CEO Jerry Forte from Colorado Springs Utilities on the Extra on KRDO News Radio. Welcome back to the Extra. We're chatting with CEO of Colorado Springs Utilities, Jerry Forte, and City Council member and Utilities Board Chair, Tom Strand. And Jerry, there are some proposed rate changes that it wouldn't be until next year, correct, that they would go into effect?
Right, and I need to back up, if I could, Laura, just a little bit, because last month, City Council actually approved a net decrease. And I'll talk about the residential bill because most people, that's what they can best connect with. But commercial industrial, you'll see similar changes depending upon how you use electricity and gas. But they proposed reductions in the electric cost adjustment, the gas cost adjustment, the electric capacity charge and the gas capacity charge. And when you put all those together, a lot of fancy words, right? People just care about the bottom line on their bill.
On the bill, right.
It was on a typical bill about $3.03 per month reduction that went into effect November 1st. So it just went into effect in the last week.
So it's not next year, it's now.
It's
right
now.
now. And then separate from that, a different part of our bill is what's called the base rate.
Okay.
And the base rate, as it's all of our budgets for next year, have gone through a very detailed analysis with our finance committee, and we've presented to the board. And now it's at the city council, and it's actually been read on first reading.
Okay.
There's another reading coming up at the next city council meeting,
which is
next week.
Next week.
Next Tuesday, which, if approved, our budget would be approved. And then what follows, we're very highly regulated, so there's so many ways, so many hoops, I guess, we have to go through to be able to change rates.
Right.
The proposed base rate adjustments, which would take place and be effective January 1st, would result in about a $4.21 increase on the bill. So let me give you some percentages. The reduction is about 1.3% reduction in November 1st. And then in January, it would be a 1.9% on average typical residential bill increase.
Okay.
So the the net is about 0.6%.
Okay.
So virtually next year, customers will see bills very similar to what they've seen this year.
No real dramatic.
Not really.
Not
And that's
really.
a lot of credit to our finance committee and our board, who have really insisted that we focus on fiscal responsibility and management, and we as a staff have done that.
That's fantastic. And one of the other focuses, and I know it's been in discussions, it continues to be in discussion, and it's been a focus of the community for a while, is the downtown Martin Drake power plant and kind of planning for decommissioning.
Yeah, let me jump in on the Martin Drake. We typically, and we meet the third Wednesday of every month at 1 o'clock in the Plaza building, and that's always open to the public. We televise that session. And I've been on the board now for about 2.5 years. And with the previous board, we finally made a decision because we get a lot of people interested in Martin Drake, and they're concerned about what kind of pollutants come out of a coal-burning plant.
Right.
And obviously there are some. We have really made tremendous progress in putting in this Newman scrubber system, which takes out much of the pollutants. But nevertheless, it's still problematic, probably not building a lot of new coal plants in the United States. And so the question was, about 1.5 years ago, when will we close Drake downtown, kind of one of the gateway visuals that you get when you come into our communities. You see these, power plant towers, and you often see some kind of smoke or fumes or something. Typically, it's just water. It's a water-based substance that's coming out when we are producing energy. But we made a decision about 1.5 years ago that Martin Drake would close not later than 2035. I would have liked to have seen an earlier date, but, to get 5 votes out of the 9 of us that are on the board, you have to meet everybody's needs, and that was the best we could do, was not later than 2035. We are now in the midst of several meetings in 2017 to find an earlier date, somewhere in the 2020s. We have some board members that would like to see it very soon. We have others that would like to see it later, because when we close Martin Drake, there will be a cost to our ratepayers, to our owners. We are going to get that information on the meeting on the 21st, which is going to be a Tuesday meeting, the 21st of November, 1 o'clock, where we're going to get these financials of, if you close by such and such a date, say 2030, the cost to the ratepayers in terms of what we're going to have to do with generation of power, transmission of power.
Where does the slack get picked up?
Right, and are we going to do it in place with just a smaller footprint out at Martin Drake, or are we going to move somewhere else in the community that is not in the downtown area? So this whole Martin Drake thing, we frequently get, anywhere from a half dozen to a couple dozen people coming to encourage us to close Drake very soon. They are very concerned about health issues. They're very concerned about burning coal. And so we're going to have this meeting on the 21st. I think, and I've talked to Mr. Forte, I think we can work with a very little increase because we don't want to increase rates. I think we set not more than 1% would be increased. Is or something like 1 to 2%.
Definitely. We don't really know the percentage on the on closure of Drake. We did talk about that with respect to renewables. That we wanted to make sure we cap any increase at 1%. And the good news is segueing for a second to renewables, we're going to be building 100 megawatts of solar energy in the next year and a half, and we're able to maintain and build all that under that 1% cap. So we're really, really excited about that.
And again, if people want more information, like you were saying, Tom, very much people comment about this all the time and are inquiring about this. So the meeting is the 21st, correct?
21st, 1 o'clock in the Plaza building up on the 5th floor.
So they can come and give their input or hear. And
or they can send texts and emails and postcards and anything they want to city council members / boards of directors.
Okay.
I did want to mention, before I came on city council and the board, a decision was made to have a different leader for utilities than we have for city council. You're going to have Richard Scorman on tomorrow as president of council. I'm the chair of utilities. We also have 4 committees that we set up about 3.5 years ago. One is finance, and that one is led by Don Knight. One is strategic planning, and that one is led by Jill Gabler. One is involved with what we're doing with personnel issues that come up. That is led by Merv Bennett. And then the 4th one that we've just started this year is on project management, big projects, and Andy Pico runs that one. So we have 4 committees. We meet, periodically throughout the month, in addition to the meeting generally on the 3rd Wednesday, but this month it's going to be on the 3rd Tuesday.
Perfect. And when we come back, tips to help you winterize for the winter. Also, if folks may need help paying winter bills, heating bills, and I love the Christmas light exchange program. We're going to talk about that when we come back on The Extra on KRDO News Radio. Welcome back to The Extra on KRDO News Radio. One of my favorite programs every year. I mean, there's lots of programs that Colorado Springs Utilities does. But if you have the old Christmas lights, guess what? You can take them to Colorado Springs Utilities and exchange them.
Renee, we are teaming up with Ace Hardware again, and it is exciting for us. LED light bulbs use about 1/3 of the energy as a regular incandescent bulb, and we see in the winter sometimes a bump as much as 8% just from Christmas lighting.
And the bills.
The bills associated with it.
Yeah.
So we're partnering with our customers, with Ace Hardware. And if people want to turn in, I think it's up to
three old holiday strings.
3 old holiday strings. Go to our site, our conservation center on 2855 Mesa Road from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. We'll give a coupon for $5 off for LED light bulbs.
Now, do you guys and I'm, of course, being totally funny when I say this, do you guys watch the grid during the holiday season and go, oh, there are the Griswolds right there? No, not funny, only in my head.
It could be funny. But I think it's a great opportunity, Jerry, to, in fact, take these old light, and I guess they don't even have to be working necessarily.
No, they
Probably
don't.
not going to plug them in, and you can take 3 strings and get a $5 coupon at Mesa. Go to any one of the Ace stores, right?
Yeah, anyone.
And get really, I think, more beautiful Christmas lights. I think the LED are prettier.
They are, and they last longer, and you can get color options. I mean, it's so wonderful, the technologies that are available today, and so we want to make sure we incentivize customers to be able to take advantage of that.
And really quick, we just have a couple minutes left. Of course, colder winter weather is coming. I know you guys have tips to winterize the home on the website, csu.org.
Right.
But also CSU, Colorado Springs Utilities, has teamed up with several programs to help support families that may need help to pay their utility bills.
Right. We've got both, the LEAP desk as well as the Project COPE that we have with federal funding that we can get for customer support during this time of the year. And with winter costs that tend to be a lot more for people, they really need to, in fact, get onto our CSU.org and see what the opportunities are there for them, or maybe family members or neighbors that might be too embarrassed to check into it, and their friends and relatives can help them with that.
And you were saying, even, Jerry, there's a LEAP desk right in Colorado Springs Utilities.
Yeah,
too.
we're one of the only utilities I'm aware of that actually partner with the federal government, bring the LEAP representative into our customer service center, provide that desk for them. So the convenience to customers is just really great.
Well, and again, all of this information, winterizing tips, all of it on the website, which is csu.org, correct?
Yes, correct.
Well, you guys, I can't thank you so much for coming in. CEO from Colorado Springs Utilities, Jerry Forte, and City Council member and Utilities Board Chair, Tom Strand. I know you guys have to run. You have to get downtown.
We're off to the new fire department that
The
on
re-grand
Weber.
opening,
The
yeah,
re-grand
of
opening.
Station
So we're
1.
off to that.
So thank you guys both very much for coming in today. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Renee.
Thanks, Renee.
9:55 now at KRDO News Radio.